Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Options Professor podcast. This is Damien, and today is Friday, August 21st. This is my weekly recap of trades that I made this week and closed for either profit or loss. So let's go through them. Starting with Accenture. So Accenture ACN closed off today at 237.49. So 237.49 is where it closed off. And if you remember from my earlier podcast, I was selling the 227.50 227.50 puts. And that 227.50 put held that level. The stock actually moved up and allowed me to collect 25% profit as the credit spread expired worthless. Okay, so a very nice trade. I'd like Accenture so much that I think it's going to continue to go up that I actually sold the 235 puts as well going into next week. So we'll see if this trend line keeps moving up. My expectation is that the 50 moving average would then trend up and 235 will become a major level of support. Okay, so that was the first winner, 25% on ACN this week, hoping for another 25% going into next week. Next stock I made a good trade on, it was Visa. So V. And V, I actually purchased long calls on this one. So this was not a spread. I had purchased a 210 calls on Tuesday. And so I purchased the 210 calls. And as the stock went up, I managed to get out for about 15% profit. I probably could have gotten more if I was a little bit more patient, but I was happy with taking a 15% profit on Visa going into one day. I did a second trade in Visa as it moved down and moved up and made another 10%. So Visa was really nice to me this week. Kind of want to watch this. I think 200 is a major level of support. So next week we'll see if we can get some credit at 200 level, or maybe still buy some calls long going into the rest of the week. All right, LULU. And if you heard me talk about LULU in an earlier podcast, I sold 335 put, 330 put spread, and I collected credit on this for the whole 335. At the time when I did the contract spread, it was trading at around 340. So I had about $5 to move on the downside. And what LULU has done, towards the end of last week and then into this week, it's just been moving straight up. It closed today, Friday, at almost 370. So 368.75 is where it closed. I got out of this earlier in the week and took a 36% profit. I want to lock that in because I wasn't sure, on Tuesday if it was going to come down and come back to levels of support. So I locked in most of the available profit for 36%, and that was another winning trade for me this week. TSM. And TSM I ended up buying puts. Monday when it hit the top of the Keltner channel at around 81, I thought that was as far as it was going to go, and I was banking on the possibility of this coming down. So what I ended up buying was the 78 puts. And as Wednesday happened, I just didn't see the 78 level falling because with Keltner channel was here, my premium was kind of being decayed on the contract, and so I sold it right around here for break even. I think I lost maybe 5% on this trade, not very much, it's break even essentially. Had I held it one more day and saw it open up here at 76, probably would have made a good, anywhere from 40-50% on that move because it did fall well below 78. But anyways, I was happy to get out of it even. No harm on that one, but I did leave some profit on the table if I had waited one more day. FSLY, and FSLY I've been in for quite a while. I sold the 70 put, so the 70 level into September. So I had 2 more weeks to go on this because this thing expired 9/4. and I probably could have let it go. But once Thursday hit and it jumped above this Keltner, I thought this was a good time to get out. I was able to lock in 26% profit by just closing this Thursday. So I didn't have to wait for it to go another 2 weeks. To me, it was a better scenario to close this out and take the profit now versus wait another 2 weeks where anything can happen. But it still looks good. I mean, it's a stock that I may come back to, and you know, if it pulls down to the bottom of this Keltner, I'll sell the 70 level again. DKS. So Dix is another one where I did a long call. I purchased the 48 calls for September. It was 9/18, and I purchased them. I believe it was Tuesday. So on one of these drop downs here, I think it was this where it hit the bottom of the Keltner. I purchased the 48 calls, thinking that it could get back up to the 48 level by September. What ended up happening was the move over the 50, this move here gave me a 22% profit. So I just locked it in. 22% overnight was, obviously a good winner. I'm going to lock that in any day. So I took the 22% off the table and locked in that profit. Not exactly what I expected in one day, maybe over a week's time, but I'll take that, very quick and easy. And then the one loser I had this week was CVS. And I think I may have talked about this in a previous podcast. So late last week, I saw CVS moving above the 50 moving average, which is about 65, and towards 66. So 65 to 66. I ended up buying a debit spread here, 64, 66 call spread. Now, for it to be max profit, I needed it to stay around 66. Unfortunately, it hovered around break even, which was just above 65 up until Thursday, and then it just dropped. This one, I could not get it, and it wouldn't go back up above 64.50, which is the 200 moving average. So this one ended up at a loss. The good thing is I didn't have a whole lot. I had 5 contracts, which maybe cost me about $600. And I was able to get a little bit out of it as it crossed over 64. So 95% loss on it, but again, not a huge play. Considering, I had 5 or 6 other trades that were in the 20 and 30% profit range. I think this week was really good. Ended up making profit on a lot of these spreads. Now you may be wondering, why did I do so many long calls and long puts this week? The way the market is going, as it's going straight up, I'm not finding levels that I could play with enough volatility. So with the types of spreads that I'm doing collecting credit, I do need that volatility where the stock goes up and down, not straight up. And a lot of the stocks right now are going straight up. So I'm not getting those entry points of selling credit. So that's why you've seen me shift some of my strategy this week into long calls, long puts. But they've worked out for me. I think the only one that did not work out was the CVS debit spread, but it was still not a bad play. I don't think there's anything I would have done wrong. There's no signal here for me to get out other than when it broke the 50 moving average. And as you can see, once it did that, it was too late. Okay, we will be back Sunday to look at a brand new watch list for next week. Thanks for tuning in and have a great weekend.